Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Want to know the secret formula to success in retirement? Well, the answer might just surprise you.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the WorryFree Retirement, with your host, nationally recognized retirement specialist and six-time author and fiduciary, Tony Walker.
In my nearly 40 years in dealing with people and money, and for the last 20 years focusing my efforts solely in the art of retirement planning, one thing's for sure. Most savers are totally unaware of how much they will need in retirement, and for the most part, as this recent Charles Schwab survey reveals, assume that they will need to save astronomical amounts of money before they can retire, which, as we're about to see in most cases, is, well, not the case. In other words, most savers can retire on much less than they think. Don't believe me? Well, let's get started to find out. Well, welcome folks to the WorryFree Retirement, and yes, I am that little man in the sweater vest retirement planning specialist and fiduciary, Tony Walker. And before I share with you my secret formula for success in life, money, and yes, retirement, let me introduce to you two young lads who are no secret to our audience each week. America's favorite financial sidekick, Mr. Aaron Orander, along with Louisville, Kentucky's most laid-back graphics artist, Mr. Derek Hudson. Okay, before I share with you the secret formula to enjoying a worry-free retirement on less money than you think, let me set the stage for the secret to success with an example of coaching my oldest child, Philip, who at the age of 8 was converted from an infielder to an outfielder, and how through hard work, created consistent results. The story all starts when Philip, who was 8 years of age and was very good at that time as an infielder, took a fly ball to the nose, and from that point on became afraid to field even a ground ball. So, as his coach and father, rather than fighting with him over his fear of taking a bad hop to the chin, I proceeded to do the unthinkable. I moved my 8-year-old son to outfield, to center field to be exact. My thoughts: why not take advantage of his speed and good arm and let him shine in the center field outfield while avoiding the fear of taking a grounder on the nose? Now, since most 8-year-olds were not accustomed to playing outfield, in order to get Philip acquainted to the position of center field, I would routinely go out in the backyard or neighborhood ball field and hit him fly ball after fly ball and teach him to catch the ball with one hand, not two. Why catch it with one hand? Well, as someone who in my day played a lot of baseball, I knew that if he learned to catch the ball with one hand, he could be in a better position to throw runners out trying to stretch singles into doubles and those trying to stretch doubles into triples. Now, after thousands, literally thousands of fly balls and practicing throwing quickly to the next base, Philip became one of the best young outfielders around. In fact, not knowing how much we had practiced together, his grandfather, my father-in-law, who in his day was an outstanding baseball player at Notre Dame, attended one of Philip's ball games to see him catch several wonderful catches and throw two runners out who were trying to stretch doubles into triples. After the game, my father-in-law asked, "Where did Philip learn to play center field like that?" I responded, "Lots of practice." But now I know that it was just not practice that makes perfect, but this little formula for success in any endeavor, yes, even for a saver looking to retire worry-free. And what is that formula for success? Well, stay tuned to find out. I'm Tony Walker, and we'll be right back. Wondering how much money you'll need to retire? Probably a lot less than you think. I'm retirement specialist Tony Walker, and for the past 36 years, I've helped thousands of savers determine when to retire and how much money they'll need in retirement, and I can help you too. To meet in person at no cost or obligation, let me invite you to log on right now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or call the toll-free number on your screen. We look forward to talking with you soon. As much as you may love golf, you surely wouldn't risk your life by playing in conditions like this. Well, neither should you be risking your 401k by investing it all in the stock market. If you're retired, retiring soon, or going through a corporate downsize, keep your ball in the fairway by moving over your 401k to Tony Walker Financial and learn how to safeguard your money today. To learn more about our process and getting started, just log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Let me ask you a question. Whether it's teaching a kid to be a great center fielder or having enough money to retire worry-free, if I were to ask you to define what it is to be a success in anything you might do, what would be the key ingredients to that formula for success? Well, in nearly 40 years of coaching youth sports and in the same 40-year period coaching people on their retirement, here's what I've come up with. This simple formula for success in any endeavor, and here it is. Hard work plus consistent effort equals consistent results. Let me repeat that. Hard work plus consistent effort equals consistent results. If you will commit to working hard at something and putting in a lot of consistent effort to honing in your craft, you will, and I guarantee you this, you will achieve consistent results. Now, when it comes to your retirement, let's think about this. If someone asks me what I have observed and learned from working and meeting with over 15,000 savers and assisting more than 3,000 clients in retirement, what I've learned is this. If you want to be successful in retirement and know how much money you will need in retirement, you cannot turn to surveys like this one and assume that there's some magic number needed to retire worry-free. No, the way you know how much money you need to retire is based on this formula, and in the end, taking the money you do have and making it work for you. So let's go over the keys that any saver who is looking for a successful and enjoyable retirement must consider. First, you've got to understand that retirement is different for everyone. In fact, in this survey that we looked at, there's no telling where they got this information. It could have been people that lived in Manhattan, New York, who really did need $1.8 million to retire. But again, it's different for different people, and I've done this for a long time. I can make that a factual statement. All right, number two, are you mentally prepared to retire? You know, there are certain times when people talk to me about transitioning from this thing called work to retirement, and they look at me and they go, well, am I able to retire financially? I had a gentleman in the office the other day, 60 years of age. He was single, had a lot of money saved up, and I said, yes, sir, you could easily retire. I could tell just by looking at everything. But then he was hesitant about retirement and found out that the problem was not the money. What he was concerned about was what he was going to do in retirement. So I told him, hey, let's figure that out first before you retire. Really important. Number three, work with an experienced retirement planning firm. Folks, assuming you're wanting to get a good night's sleep with this whole thing called retirement in your future, you've got to work with experienced retirement planning specialists before you retire. Or if you're already retired, let me suggest getting a second opinion from someone such as Tony Walker Financial. In fact, there's not a day that goes by that someone who is already retired with no game plan in place will call us and ask for this second opinion, and we are happy to do so at no cost whatsoever. Number four, understand what I came up with years ago called the 3 halves of life. Now, this is a retirement phenomenon observed over the years whereby as people get older and move through what I call the second half of life, most people begin to spend less and less money. And thus, while they might be fearful of inflation, they fight the effects of inflation by spending less money. It happens almost every case as people get older. Number 5, understand the wants versus needs. Now, the way you do this, you have to understand the difference between income and expenses. We've created a handy-dandy little guide. It's called the Spending Plan. In fact, you can download this at Tony Walker Financial, or we'll be happy to mail one to you. But what this does, it provides an appraisal of what you need versus what you want. You see, in retirement, you must begin with an inventory of expenses that cover your basic needs. Needs such as food, clothing, transportation, shelter, taxes, insurance, and yes, medical expenses, just to name a few. Then, after you account for the cost to cover these needs, then you see if there are needs or costs that you can cut back on. Then, after calculating the cost of the needs, what is left over? Yep, they can be used for the fun stuff we call the wants. Stuff like golf, a favorite hobby, travel, entertainment, and yes, even major purchases. And then finally, last but not least, the keys to being worry-free in retirement is I would suggest take on this example of live well, die broke. A perspective on life I covered in my best-selling book called Live Well, Die Broke, which incidentally you can order from any major bookseller. What you need to realize with Live Well, Die Broke, it's positioning your money to first understand that you can't take it with you, and then secondly, to try to help you understand that you've got to use and enjoy this money before it's too late and without the fear of running out of money. Well, how do we do this? We call this our proprietary worry-free split IRA concept. And here's how this works. Let's say you have a 401k plan or IRA or maybe a lot of money languishing in the bank right now. We can take this money and we divide this up into two or more buckets. Now, the first bucket is the Charles Schwab bucket, and its purpose is to provide us complete access and flexibility to our money at a low fee of 0.8%. Now, we do everything. We pick all the funds, we do all the management of it, we do all the distributions, we do all the tax withholdings, everything for 0.8%. That's about half of what most money managers charge, and most of them do half the work, quite frankly. Then on the other end, we will put sometimes multiple annuities. Now, what's the purpose of the annuities? Well, first of all, if you don't know much about annuities, I would highly suggest you download this little guide that I wrote. It's on our website. It's called Annuities Made Easy. In fact, we'll be happy to mail you a copy of this. Just email Gina at TonyWalkerFinancial.com and we'll get you that copy. But you have to understand, the annuities are there for protection of principal, and if you so choose, we can set up an annuity that is structured so it'll provide that beloved Okay, so if you don't have anything like this, if you don't have an advisor that you feel is truly in your corner, why don't you do this right now? Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Let's arrange that free fiduciary phone call with myself or one of our highly trained salaried fiduciaries. All right, when we come back, I'm going to analyze even further this whole key to success in this formula and what happened when one of our recent clients came to us and they found this delivery binder. We're going to go over this binder. This is a game changer for getting you organized so you can worry less about money. I'm Tony Walker. We'll be right back. Have you recently retired, been laid off, or offered a pension buyout? Has the company you work for moved, been acquired, or closed its doors forever? And finally, do you have a 401k with a previous employer you'd like to move to safer territory? Then take advantage of this opportunity to move your 401k or lump sum pension to Tony Walker Financial. Let's meet in person to discuss your retirement options. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com to schedule your free, no obligation appointment. Let us help you today. So you've worked 30 or 40 years slaving away at work so you can save away money into your 401k, and now you arrive at the biggest financial decision you're ever going to make, where to invest your 401k plan. Think about it. For all these years, you've had a steady paycheck, compliments from your employer for all of your hard work that you dedicated to them. But now, all of a sudden, you've got to figure out how to replace that paycheck with the money you've been saving. No wonder you're worried about what to do and who to trust with that money, which is why we at Tony Walker Financial are providing a brand new free service called the 10-Minute Fiduciary Phone Call. And here's how simple it is to learn more about our services and our 401k rollover process. First, just log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Once there, click on the Let's Get Started button. You'll be taken to a page confidentially, you can fill out your information on the screen and then click below the best way for us to speak together. It could either be myself or one of our other trained fiduciaries. It's that easy. So what are you waiting for? Before you make a rash decision and blindly turn your money over to a complete stranger to invest, consider a name and a firm you can trust, Tony Walker Financial. And, oh, by the way, if you like, you can give us a call to speak to us at any time by phone by simply calling the toll-free number on your screen. I'll look forward to speaking with you soon. Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. Let me set the stage for today's Live Well, Die Broke moment. As we record this show on August 15th, 2023, all through the month of August, by the way, my wife and I are celebrating our 40th anniversary, and one of the things we decided to do was to go to Disney World, a place we travel all the time by ourselves. Now, as much as you know, I love golf. My wife is not a morning person, so what I'll do is I'll get the clubs, go out very early in the morning and hit the local golf courses. And one thing I like about this is all the cool people you meet randomly playing golf. In fact, I got kind of joined up with these three fellas, all three from Brazil. This gentleman, his name is Roberto. He was the host. He lives in the States. These two gentlemen he knew from Brazil had traveled over, and we just had a great time playing golf together. But what was interesting, Roberto, let's go to the next slide, Derek, and his wife have played golf in at least one golf course in all 50 states throughout the United States, which I thought was cool. Oh, by the way, for those of you in Lexington, I asked Roberto, I said, so which course did you play in Kentucky? And he said, Kearney Hills. Okay, enough of that, but that's really cool stuff. Never know who you're going to get teamed up with out there. It's a real fun world if you make it that way. Okay, our theme for today's show is the notion that most people can retire on much less than they think. But the only way to know how much you will need includes these steps we covered in our last segment. But there is more to it than just that, and it's the years of experience in the art of retirement planning that come, and more specifically, the amount of work that we went through in creating what I feel is the best income planning software in the industry, our Worry-Free Retirement Income software. In fact, after taking on a new client recently during what we call our binder delivery phase, which is the culmination and organization of all of our clients' finances, and basically this one binder, the Andersons had this to say to my favorite son-in-law after going through the binder. Let me read this to you. It says, in my entire life, I've never felt like our finances were so organized. I used to think that logging online and seeing them all at the bank felt like I knew where everything was. But having this binder so neatly organized, we'll be able to show the kids. It's such a blessing. Now, how do we get to this point in the retirement planning process where we can so effectively serve the needs of more than 3,000 clients? Well, I can tell you this. It has nothing to do with some magic number you're supposed to have stockpiled for the future, but rather more to do with how you position the money you have based on the goals that you specifically have before you. And most importantly, it goes right back to my secret of success. Hard work plus consistent effort equals consistent results. You see, some 20 years ago when I first decided to focus solely on savers and their retirement, I knew that just like my son catching thousands of fly balls and working on his throws to home, I too have to work really hard at creating a process, one that is repeatable and duplicated by those I hire to serve our clients. A process that first organizes the saver's finances and then can quickly be referred to when the saver needs money to meet the changes that will surely come their way in the future. Remember, friend, the goal of a saver with whatever money they might have saved for retirement is this: to be sure that the money saved is enough to meet the needs and wants in retirement, and this must include a game plan that is not full of risk and uncertainty, but one that is consistently providing for your needs and your wants. You know, this basic understanding of the mind and hard work of a saver is what has led Tony Walker Financial to create such a consistent means of helping so many savers, and motivates me, to the owner of the company, to continue to figure out how we can effectively serve even more. And while I've been recognized around the country for our ability to write a ton of business, that is not why I got into this business. The results of our success are simply the results of this simple formula. My measure of success is not how much business I've written, but how many people I've been able to serve. The success comes with my personal commitment to do all I can as the owner of the company for our clients, not just move their money around as a firm. We're going to be there not just today, but long into retirement, because that is what really separates the money managers from people like us who are retirement planning specialists. So, if you do not have in your possession a written game plan that looks something like this, that is easy to live by and easy to communicate with loved ones, my question is, why not? So let's do this. Let's get started by getting organized and more control of your retirement by setting up what we call the free 10-minute fiduciary phone call. Take advantage of this free offer to talk to me, Tony Walker, the owner of the company, by simply logging on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com, or if you like, simply call the toll-free number on your screen. Well, what does the Bible have to say about my little simple formula for success? Well, it actually says a lot, and the response from God to confirm my formula features one of the hardest working animals on the planet. Good stuff coming your way. Better get me another cup of coffee. I'm Tony Walker. I'll be right back.
My name is Mark Williams, and I've been in the financial services industry for around 30 years now. I'm the CEO and president of Brokers International in Des Moines, Iowa. At Brokers International, to put it simply, we help agencies and financial professionals grow their business. We offer live support, digital tools and services, and several ways to submit both annuity and life insurance applications. Right now, we service around 4,500 financial professionals nationwide. The one thing I continually see with the successful financial professionals that we work with is that they have a repeatable process of doing business and providing service to their customers. Tony Walker is one example of those financial professionals that utilizes a repeatable process. We started providing our services to Tony and his firm a few years ago. I think what makes him so successful is that he's got such a well-oiled machine, a process that he's created himself. In fact, I flew my team out to Kentucky so we could see it face to face how Tony consistently provides that service. When it comes to his process, I found that one thing Tony does really well is hire more service professionals to help him so that he can continue to see and help more people. Tony has figured out that in order to service thousands of clients with top-notch service, you have to have a process, a way to duplicate what you do day in and day out. I'd invite you to give a call to Tony Walker.
Did you know that you can watch the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money anytime you want? The show's called the WorryFree Retirement. It's hosted by Tony Walker, and it's available on YouTube. All you got to do is go to youtube.com and right there in the search bar, type in Tony Walker Financial, and you'll see Tony's smiling face. Click on that and you're going to find all types of video content. Again, that's youtube.com, Tony Walker Financial.
Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement with the money missionary himself, Tony Walker.
Earlier in the show, I talked about my father-in-law randomly showing up to my son Philip's Little League baseball game as Philip proceeded to routinely catch fly balls in center field and proceed to throw out several runners trying to stretch doubles into triples. When asked by my father-in-law how he learned to play like that, I wish I could have shared this simple formula with him that I'm sharing with you. You see, in life, there is no substitute for hard work and consistent effort. Look at any successful person, regardless of how much money they make, and you will find these same ingredients. You see, folks, success has less to do with money and more to do with passion to get results and to provide for others. And the best example of such hard work and consistent effort is found in one of God's smallest creatures on the planet, that's right, the ant. Have you ever really, truly observed an ant? Well, let me tell you, talking about focus and hard work, one single ant can get more done than any human could ever do, and by watching them work serves as a reminder of how we too can be successful in meeting our basic needs. Which I guess is why God tells us in Proverbs 6:6 that if we want to be successful in providing for our needs and wants, observe the ways of the ant. In other words, rather than trying to risk our money and grow it to some magic number that in the end really means nothing, we should focus our efforts on what we do have and what we can do with the measure God provides us each day. Because in the end, as John Maxwell's wonderful book on the subject so noted, today is all that really matters. As I reflect on my own life and the nearly 40 years I've dedicated to learning my craft and taking care of more than 3,000 clients, just the other day, I received a random text from a mentor 10 years my senior, who is retired and living the good life traveling the world. After texting me these pictures of his recent trip to Iceland, he asked why I too was not retired and traveling the world as he was. And as much as I am truly happy for my friend, what my good friend does not understand is that my work, like the ant, is what brings me true joy, as he has allowed me to work so hard. And God remains consistent in helping me help others be worry-free. Like the ant, my work and the 18 staff members working alongside me who help to create these consistent results for our clients, it motivates me each and every day to get up and keep going. The way I look at it, I'm grateful that God has allowed me to make a good living, so why stop now? So in conclusion, know this, dear saver, as long as God continues to grant me the wisdom, energy, and know-how to serve the needs of savers, I will continue to work, and by His grace, as an organization, the people behind Tony Walker Financial will continue to keep it going long after I'm unable to do so. And that, my friend, is some good news you and I can take to the bank. Amen? Well, how about you right now? Do you have a written game plan that is specifically tailored to your needs and wants? Or are you buried in a bunch of statements and investments that you don't understand, and worse yet, not sure how to use them and enjoy them while you still can? Well, here's my advice. Life, money, and retirement does not have to be this complicated. In fact, we have made this so easy to learn more about our process at Tony Walker Financial that we offer something called the free 10-minute fiduciary phone call. And here's how easy it is to learn more about our organization. Just simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and click on that Let's Get Started button. We will then arrange a 10-minute phone call with myself or one of our trained salaried fiduciaries. Not sure if you want to log on to the internet? No problem. All you got to do is call the toll-free number on your screen and we can arrange that phone call right away. And if it warrants, if we decide to meet, we're going to be meeting in person at either our Bowling Green, Louisville, or Lexington, Kentucky offices. So do it now. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or give us a call at the toll-free number on your screen. Well, next week we've got an exciting show for you. We're going to look at the rippling effect of what happened after COVID and all the retirees out there and what's happened to inflation and our money and the money you were able to spend today. But between now and next week, you remember, if all else fails, you be worry-free and you make it a good one.